I see in you. I see in you. And that is so important that we are sharing that with a lot of our employees that we see, right?
Something in there. I see something in you.
Hey guys, welcome to Movified. I'm here with Mark Hirschi, my sexy co-host.
Co-host
With the most.
it is Movified, and we are located in beautiful Wooster. Are you gonna say that correctly?
Wooster, Ohio.
This is beautiful tomorrow.
Every place is really beautiful to me. I mean, come on. You know what? I can't complain about Wooster because every day the weather has felt like that crisp fall, sunny day in Vancouver. And if you're from Vancouver, then you know what I mean. And if you've been there in the fall, you know what I mean. We're here at the Built to Move conference. It has been an amazing, inspirational 2 days. To share it with so many of my close friends, my best friends, friends that I get to see every conference, maybe in a Zoom call, the new connections that we've been able to make, the inspirational speakers that have been at this event. It has been a game changer for sure. And I'm so happy to have this session today that we love doing after these conferences with one of my best friends, Nicole Murdock. Murdock's Moving and Storage. Let's go. And of course, a fellow sponsor and also one of my best friends, Matt Young.
Matty Mailers.
If you're not getting your mailers done by them, get on it, please. Yesterday, not tomorrow. Listen, we want to kind of run through some of these speakers. We kind of hand selected the ones that we want to touch on that, also impacted us the most, but ones that, really resonated. Neacail, do you want to kind of share a little bit about the episode? And
Stephen Reed. Give him something, Stephen.
all right, see you after.
The #1 moving podcast for the Northern California and in the UK. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to go over, we had several great speakers, and I've listened to every episode of Movified. I'm in the top 1%.
Yes, he showed me too.
I did.
Everything
There's
checked
proof.
off.
But Tim Krupp put this on, Built to Move, and there were several speakers. And the one that I want to highlight on today from day one was Justin Queen. So he is Sales Engine. That's his company. And he talked about, marketing, right? We hear often.
And Stephen Reed.
Yeah, he was day 2. We're getting there. But Justin Queen talked about, it's not always the best moving company that wins or best company. It's the best known, right? Because you could be the best company on the planet, but if people aren't hiring you because they don't know about you, then you're not the best company. So, just to break this down into some key takeaways, he really emphasized his results first method. So tell me your revenue goal and I'll tell you how we're going to get there. He really talked about, high intent marketing sources. So what stage your client's in, late stage, mid stage, early stage. And you want to really focus on that late stage when they're ready to buy, right? If they're not moving for months or a year, they're not going to pick a moving company. You're nowhere near their buying process. So, really focus in descending order. He really talked about Google Ads is a late stage. Google LSA is a late stage. Google Organic Optimization is a late stage. And mailers can, honestly be, one of the highest ROI marketing sources that you can do. And one of the key takeaways was you don't want to outpace your organic growth. Right, guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he talked about big companies often, putting tons and tons of money in their marketing and outpacing the organic referrals, word of mouth, and affiliate marketing. You want to grow at a sustainable rate, right? You don't want to just, because then you just take your marketing budget and you have to put in this much just to meet this revenue goal when you really should be working on branding and community events and things of that nature. So while he is a marketing company, he really emphasized that organic growth as well.
I always think the worst is you see those moving companies that are dumping tons into marketing and their branding is not even on par. And you're like, what are you doing? You're just tossing money away. Or they have the branding, they're ready to go, they're tossing it into tons of marketing, and they're not optimizing or utilizing any type of tracking. So then they have no idea. You're sending all this stuff out, and you have no idea where it's coming from. you ask someone and that got brought up where it goes, oh yeah, how did you hear from us? Oh, I saw you online. Well, in reality, you actually, remember I think we were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, we got it from a mailer that came in, we scanned it, and then it went to Google to the website. But then, you go, no. But yeah, it was actually a mail out.
Yeah. And then they fill out the form and you're giving it credit to, the website or Google. It's very subjective marketing, right? That we don't think about. It's just like, putting a billboard up in town, right? Like people are going to drive by that every day. And it might be a long stage until that buyer finally buys, right? But we have to start implanting, like live rent free, in your potential customers' minds, right? And so that's where that stage is, especially with direct mail specifically. And then of course that funnel was very impressive to see it broken down in a way that sometimes we don't think about. We don't think about late stage, mid stage, early stage stuff. We're all just like, oh, I'm just going to throw a bunch of marketing out there, and we all kind of put it in the same pool. But sometimes we don't really break it down in a way that, Justin did. So compliments to him on doing that. That was a little bit of an eye opener for myself as well.
Well said, Matt.
Before we ever started using a moving CRM, someone asked me, could you 10x what you're doing right now with the current systems and processes you have in place? And I said no. And so he was like, well, then you need to just pull the trigger on the software. And then I saw Smart Moving and it was game over.
Austin joined thousands of moving owners on Smart Moving in 2021. Since then, he's more than doubled his business.
And I always compare Smart Moving to Apple products. It's just so simple, so easy to use. And that's really what's allowed my team to scale and now have 2 branches. Last year, we scaled Central Coast Moving over 50% growth.
If you're ready to turn your moving company into a machine that drives profit, not chaos, try Smart Moving.
Hey everyone, Matty Mailers here, the guy who pioneered handwritten letters for the moving industry. Why? Because my competition at my moving company was using the same stock postcards as me, and my mailing company didn't care. So I created a better way. Here's some mind-blowing results in July. Miracle Movers Utah closed $93,000 using our handwritten letter strategy. With our campaigns, you can forget about the guessing games. You get a trackable phone number, daily photo proof, an incredible design team, and I'm also included. All letters stop at me for approval before they ever leave our facility. Right now, Movified listeners get 1,000 golden tickets stuffed in our genuine handwritten letters completely free. Plus, I'm going to throw in bulk realtor data for up to 5 counties. What are you waiting for? Moving Letters AI. Stop competing, start dominating.
Well, 100%. But, I actually want to give you credit because we're talking, I feel like it was like a year ago where you came to us and you're like, I'm going to start dropping some on YouTube. And I want to put some YouTube ad spend on there because there's a massive market on those type of commercials and the sponsors that get filtered. And you see when you watch our episodes on YouTube, right? You think we have sponsors just on the show, and then it kicks into a YouTube paid ad. And those paid ads are, everybody I talk to is, you go, oh, where did you see it? Oh, I watched on YouTube. Right? From podcast to episodes, I would rather be scrolling and getting information that is relevant to what I want and need on a YouTube 30-minute episode than watching regular news or how many people, tell me anybody, and I'd love to hear your comments. Where do you get your news from? If it's not from like scrolling on any type of social media feed, or are you someone that's like, I watch the local news and that's where I got my feed? No, we're so fast in wanting our information that we can get it so easily and readily available that I'd rather watch it on there. And guess what? Here comes an ad for Murdock's Moving and Storage, and you can target it not to the masses. You can actually target it to your area and demographic that you want to at such a low ad spend that, like, why would you do TV ad? It makes me go, I wouldn't want to advertise on the radio because just like a billboard, it makes it tough to go, how do you hear from us? The last time I advertised on a radio ad, the only people that were coming up to me being like, oh, I heard your commercial, were friends and my mom. So it's like, thanks. Are you moving?
Let's switch gears a little bit. Matt, why don't you tell us about your favorite speaker from day one?
Yeah, I would, let's talk about that. So this Built to Move event, I didn't know, what to expect to it going in. Obviously, I had major FOMO in the fact that you guys were all going to go. And 2 weeks ago, I I had to book a ticket and spend through the nose to do it. But really excited to come. I think Tim really brought something that a lot of the speakers don't, right? A lot of the speakers come in and they talk for specific, maybe kind of things about their brand or to their brand. And I felt like he brought a lot of value on just breaking down how to, look at a moving company from, more of a 1,000-foot view, instead of the day to day on like, hey, what are the things that they could be working on? What could be going wrong? And so we broke down specifically for smart moving, some of the sales performance reports that you can pull and other reports. And it was funny because while we were sitting there, Nicole literally looks over at me and he says, dude, check this out. Let's do this report. We started looking specifically at Nicole's sales breakdown and where maybe some things that we were seeing up there that could compare to his. I think it was a big eye opener for Nicole, right?
It really was. We took a deep dive, and often as moving company owners, we just, hey, they're selling, things are going good, but like until you look at those numbers in detail, and Matt really knows those reports well, so kudos to you. But yeah, we took a deep dive on some salespeople in my company, and there's room for improvement. But when is there not?
Always, and we don't.
Nical's putting fear into the salespeople. Don't worry.
They don't listen to Movified, so we're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What?
My employees. I'm sorry, my employee. I share the episodes, Mark.
No, it was really a big eye opener to kind of dig into those frameworks and see other breakdowns that Tim was doing. So kudos to him. Shout out. I pulled him aside and just told him how thoroughly impressed I was of him putting this together and getting all of us, in a room. And I think, he said something. He didn't even spend any money on ads for this. This is all organic growth for him. So congratulations, Tim. Good stuff that you're doing out here. So thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, we talk about word of mouth. We talk about organic growth. And you could say that was very true for this conference. Because if you were looking at putting on a conference, and we know friends that have put on conferences, we've been to the Titan events, and we've always asked, at least, I know me and Matt always like to know what's going on behind the scenes. We're very like, let's find where the nitty gritty and give us the details. And it's a huge expense. We've looked into putting on our own event and going, here's the numbers, here's the breakdown, this is the marketing ad spend, these are the numbers that we need. And it's a lot of credit to Tim Krupp and his team for going, I'm going to put the word out, but I'm not going to spend tons on advertising. I'm not going to make it a huge event. I want to make it intimate. I want to keep price points affordable, and I want to bring huge value to moving company owners that desperately need that bird's eye view that you so nicely said. And he filled it fast and sold everything else and pulled off like I said in the very beginning, an inspirational event, and even as related and high value for even the person that I'm going to speak about next, where I got quite emotional.
Yeah.
And so they pays to show you that you don't have to spend tons in marketing, but you have to do the tag playbook that me and Steven talk about. It's building connections. Tim has built so much connections and has so much trust in what he's going to deliver that everybody's like, done. Like, why wouldn't I want to go? And then, of course, if you're anybody like Matt Young, and then you have FOMO and you go, oh, if everybody else is doing it, I better do it myself. It's like the ant that drives by on moving day and sees the moving truck and sees the guys and sees how good it is, goes, well, shit, I'm moving next month. These guys look really good. Are you using them? Great. I'm just going to use them too. And that's the basis of referrals, right? If Nicail's going to refer something, Matt's just going to trust Nicole to go, if you like that person, I'd like to check them out too.
Let me speak on that real quick there, Mark. I was promised to go to See the Point, and
Oh
Cal is not going to take me now, but that's okay. We're going to do this podcast instead. We're having a great time. But yes, one other thing on it's real quick. Is
crushed a childhood dream.
let me touch on this. Like, I do like the fact that there were some different speakers, right? We go to these events, we've heard from the same five. Love these guys. Don't get it wrong. Don't mistake that. But it was good to hear from some different perspectives that maybe we haven't in a while. And, Brian Slater coming out of the woodwork, that was a big one that we got to see. So that was huge. So good stuff there. But yeah, touch on Dan a little bit, man. That was a good I mean, that was, I think, a big highlight for a lot of us.
One of the big opening speakers on day one that came on after Tim was a fellow mentor, a pastor that knows Tim on a personal level, has traveled to different countries, brought leadership, brought the church along to a bunch of moving company owners that, to me, needed it and needed to hear it, and in a very non-preachy way. And he's Dan Owalabi. I probably even pronounced his last name wrong. I had to pull it up, everybody, because I just wanted to make sure that I had his full name. And Dan really started off with a Bible verse. And it was a verse and a time period in Moses's life where everybody, listen, you can watch the 10 Commandments. You can pull up that old Charlton Heston movie and you can hear about the situation of Moses and, leading the people out. But he broke down such a significant point where it came to a point that he had to delegate responsibilities. The growth, and the only way he could make this happen was to find those that were going to be in this position, that position, and he shooed out everybody. He sent everybody out. He sent his family away. He wasn't too sure how he was going to do it, and his father-in-law stepped in and gave him direction. And to me, we as leaders fall into the same situation that Moses did. As what other names did he throw out there? It was the gentleman who created Starbucks. I mean, the list goes on, and it was founder syndrome. And founder syndrome is huge. It's something that probably happens to a lot of us that we don't realize, but it's the resistance to change. It's choking the growth of the team and your own business. And we tend to not find ourselves doing it until it's too late.
I think the big thing there is just, number one is ego, right? Having that big ego, where you're not letting your people step in, right? It's all dependent on you, and you're the only one who can think you can do everything within your company. And I feel like that was my takeaway from founder syndrome. I had 100%, and I'll be completely honest with you, right? It is a detriment to me. Right? My business probably could have been scaled much bigger than it is right now if I wasn't the one in the way, right? So it is tough, but yeah, sorry.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we had 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
What's up, guys? It's Austin Yarrow with the Moving Army. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're crushing it, you're growing your business, and you don't need any help. Majority of you probably don't. But the thing is that information alone isn't enough. If you're looking for someone to hold you accountable, work with you, and collaborate with others in our industry with teams that are killing it, crushing it, you need to join the Moving. This is my invitation to you. You can text my personal cell, 805-441-6118. I'll see you soon and wait for your call. Join the Moving Army today.
He gave a great point, and I kind of want to touch on these 4 areas. The 4 areas start with reflection. And reflection to me, when I hear always reflection, and I remember I had time to spend it with Kurt Hintz from Max Moving and Storage, and he was always telling me, he's like, look, I journal every day, and I usually start my day. And a lot of times what we do as business owners is before you know it, it's Friday. And you sit there and you go, what the fuck did I accomplish this entire week? I felt like I was, not so much running around with your head cut off, but you had tasks. You started off, on Sunday going, this is what I need to achieve on the week. Did I actually achieve it? And what was my day? And I give you all a challenge to write down your plan for the week, your plan of attack for the week, and then write down what you are doing every 15 minutes for the day. Right? It doesn't mean like really from the time you wake up, if you want to go that hardcore to the time you go to bed, but just at the office, and then see what you actually are achieving. Because that reflection for me, when he was speaking, I felt like he was speaking right to me, kind of going like, Mark, like you need to reflect. You also need to start reflecting on what you do. What do you enjoy doing? And what I liked is he says, write all the things that you enjoy doing in your business and circle it. Or like just write down all the things you like doing. And then circle all the things that are super important to you. And then anything that's left, delegate it and find someone else to deal with it. And some of the stuff that you are doing that just really isn't not in your top 5 that you really want to be
Get
doing.
rid of those quick, right?
And get rid of those quick. And it made me stop and think. And I could think of like 3 or 4 things right off the hop that I'm like, whew, okay. I wrote those down. I'm like, when I get back on my plane, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to build out how I'm going to delegate this, right? And how I'm going to execute it to make sure that whoever I give that task to is killing it and probably will do it 10 times better than I will. And it really then came back to observation, right? There's a list, there's a graph that he made, and it's very simple, everybody. And I'll try and use my fingers, and we'll do some lines on here. Oh, perfect. Beauty. Think of an arrow going up. Okay. There's your high will. Then at the bottom is your low will. Now I want you to have a line that going along the bottom. Draw that arrow pointing towards outwards. And at the corner is your low skill and then your high skill. So I got high will, low skill, high skill. In between those arrows inside, you draw yourself a square. And if you're curious as to, you should watch and you can kind of look at that graph. But in your box, in your cross, the top left side says educate. The bottom says terminate. Beside it says motivate. And then just above it says delegate. So the top 2, educate, delegate, terminate, motivate. And when you look at that graph, your ideal situations is observing who falls in these different areas. Because if they are someone with a low will and a low skill, I sure hope you're terminating them right away. If you have someone with a high will and high skill, you want to be delegating them right away. But if you have someone that has a high skill but maybe a low will, you need to motivate. If you have someone with maybe a low skill because you brought them in, maybe they don't have moving experience, they came from outside, but they have that high will, like they're ready to rock. And I have this with a new salesperson that is just like, she wants to learn. She is ready to go. I need to educate and make sure that they know what to do.
Yeah, maybe we can pull up Nicail's notes and put it over the screen, overlay a little bit of that graph. I think that would be important, the visualization for it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's a good touch there.
The next one is invitation, right? An invitation, and I'm going to give you the acronym. ICNU. I see in you. And that is so important that we are sharing that with a lot of our employees, that we see when we want them to excel.
Right?
Jumping in there.
I see something in you. So
Yeah.
no, that was a good touch.
Lastly, delegation. Delegation is really interesting because I find that there's a lot of great people that are good at delegation. One of the best that I know is TM, the CEO and founder of Let's Get Moving. And I remember pulling him aside once and saying, dude, like, how do you do it? Like, I just don't get it. He goes, well, I fucking delegate. Right? He goes, half the stuff that goes on a day to day, you think I know how to do it? He's like, no, I find the right people that know how to do it and can do it way better than I can. And he's like, I delegate that shit right away. And that's how I was able to grow so fast. And as business owners, we don't. And it's really about going and saying,
You decide.
you decide. You decide. I almost was about to say like another way to say it, but it's about saying you decide. And I remember just most recently, I had this with a situation with my my operations manager, and he phones me up and he's like, hey, all these different things and everything else and stuff. And I says, okay, well, before I give you the answer of how like I would do it, like, how would you do this? Like, how would you decide to take these actions? Because I want to hear you out. Let's just make this into a training session. Like, you know, because I kind of just want to understand what's going through their minds of how to make this. Because in my head as a business owner and doing this for so many years, you're like, the answer is ready in my head. Like, I already know, here you go. And I can probably give you 3 different scenarios of how to execute this situation. But I wanted him to decide what was going to make sense. And then once he gave me some options that I corrected a little bit, and I said, let's play out, like, just if this doesn't work, it's that if then or else scenario, you know, I want you to decide what's going to be the best option. And I said, and I won't fault you for whichever way you go. And he went ahead with it, and he made it work. And to me, it's a 2-parter. One, you as a business owner should feel relieved and have a side going, hey, you know what? Like, they got something. Like, you know, I want you to decide you can make it happen. The other side, you've now given this employee, you know, this elevation, right? Like, they feel like king shit. Like, they are just now like that extra. It's like they you know, collected the mushroom from like you know Mario, right? And now they've just like grown that size because they go, man, I did it, and I was able to, and he or she trusted me to make that execution, and I killed it. It is the Movified Titan Edition Dolly Dash moment. Who are you excited to see this trip? For speakers.
We'll see. I'm excited to see everybody.
Okay.
I want to get a new experience, to find something new for myself. So we'll see. I'm excited to hear everybody. I want to hear everybody.
What's one thing that you packed that you thought you packed but you forgot?
We always pack everything.
You always pack everything?
We never forget everything. We never forget. We pack everything as it should be.
Got it. I love it.
This is how we work.
If you were going to take one thing back from this trip, what would it be?
I think something new in my mentality.
New mentality?
Yeah, don't need something physical. Everything's over.
Everything's up there.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. What's one thing that you changed this year in business that has helped grow?
So we're quite a young company. We're based in Dallas, Texas, Rise Up Moving. So we changed quite a lot. We changed whole system we had. So we have also a big company like Big Brother in San Francisco named Dependable Movers. So we took a lot of that from them.
Okay.
We just trying to do our best each day.
I love it.
We got just so much changes during the years.
And this is your first time to the event?
My first time.
First time to the event.
Yeah.
If you were talking to another moving company right now about coming to this event, what should they know?
About the event?
Yeah.
They should know that it's great guys over here, hardworking, know how to do business, and know how to make everybody better.
I love it. Andrew, pleasure.
And Mark, just one quick thing to add. I think it was important. Dan talked about, the appropriate things to delegate, right? You don't want to give your manager, whoever you're delegating something to, a massive responsibility decision in your business that could result in, mayhem. So give them the appropriate level, right, Mark?
Hey, listen, we need to get 2 new trucks. Can you go source it? Can you go figure I have a trench this out and then handle the fan? Yeah. Not at that level, but like just, I totally agree.
Trusting them with more of the kind of simple things, right?
Day to day, right, Matt?
Day to day, yeah. And I think maybe it's as an example of, should I choose the red pants or the black pants? Yeah, red shoes, something like that. And you decide, right? And it's like sometimes I think we hyper focus on the micro decisions, but letting them and trusting them to fail. I struggle with that sometimes too, but that was a good touch right there where it's like, yeah, sometimes these little things, let's let our people decide, right? And let's empower them enough to make these decisions. It's okay if they fail, right? We're going to have to get over that, right? We have to get over if it doesn't work out. But those major decisions, they can start to work up. Let them climb that ladder of delegation, right? Start slow, start low, and then start working their way up to now you can give them the 2-truck operation to decide on and start doing that. So yeah, that was awesome.
It was funny when it was done because he had talked about visiting Tim and saying, here's a gentleman that is running multiple businesses, and 8 figures, and had moved away from where, like, his local town, living in Florida for 17 months or so, or 15 months, and spending the entire day with them on, a Thursday or so, and said, how many phone calls or texts he got? He goes, 0.
Yep.
And I remember Anthony coming up to me after, going, Mark, like, okay, you got like 2 businesses, everything else. Like, you've been gone all week. He's like, how many phone calls and texts did you get? I said, honestly, I can't remember. I said to him, I said 0. And then I cried to myself. I said, actually, I got a phone call from one office and I got a text from another, 2 texts. And one was regards to letting me know that everything was good for payroll that week because it was a large payroll. And another one because they were having issues booking a hotel, which I thought in my head, okay, great. It was like a 5-minute quick fix, but this is easy to delegate. But where it was where the main phone call, and those are just 2 texts of like office management checking in at Salmon's, was at the Ellis office was my ops manager, and the time change, it worked out to be 6:30 our time, right, in Vancouver. I looked at my clock. I was like, shit. It's like, uh-oh. Like, it's a pretty busy week. And I was like, oh no, like, what's happened? And I answered the phone. He's like, oh, good morning. He's like, just want to check in, let you know everything's great. And, there's no problems here. And we've been able to handle everything. And, anything that's arise, we've been able to take care of it. And I thought, well, those are the calls I want. I'm like, wait a second. Aren't I supposed to be doing those phone calls? Right. So, but it's one of those things that once you are taking these taking these 4 steps, looking at your staff and applying yourself as a good leader in a variety of ways by going, you choose, right? Like, you decide what to do, right? And I see in you what you can do. You're winning, right? Because you can start taking these vacations and getting away from the business and working on the business and not in the business.
God, when he was describing the first leader that could go on vacation and not actually be on vacation, emails, phone calls, texts, fires, that was me, guys. I think a lot of us could relate to that. Maybe some of the earlier days, and maybe now. I will say I've taken a lot of steps to empower my team, and I think I've gotten like Mark a couple of texts that weren't even that big. So.
You took an amazing trip down to the Baja. Like, I mean, how many phone calls were you getting while you were gone there?
They couldn't call me. There was no service.
What steps do you think you took to get to that point where you were able to to empower that?
Dan nailed it. I took everything that I did on a day-to-day basis. I didn't circle it, but I was just like, okay, who can I give this to? Who can I give this to? Who can I give this to? And that you don't like to do. For me, I'll be completely transparent here. I hate doing payroll. I hate it. I'm very good at it. It takes me a bit longer because I'm very detail orientated, but there's someone in my company that is absolutely crushing that role, and they take it very seriously. They both care about the movers and their payroll and company time, and nobody's stealing it. It's the best of both worlds. So, it was fantastic to delegate that one. But yeah, just giving away a lot of those tasks that, you really don't need to be doing, especially if it's day to day. Yeah, and I took you guys met Jared at the Titan retreat, great guy.
Yeah.
He's in charge of deposits now. I trust him to make sure everything gets deposited in a timely manner, and he's crushing it.
Shout out.
Shout out to Jared. Yeah.
I really appreciate you purchasing me that flight and that vacation package the other day. He said, "Don't worry about it. Nical's got it." So I just wanted to, I don't know.
I want him to come on the Baja trip next year in March. So yeah, we'll see about that. We're both big into motorcycles, so
That's dope.
Sweet.
That's dope. Are we switching over to day 2, or is this just a day 1 recap? Are we talking about more people? What do we got?
we could do day 2. Yeah, let's do day 2 real quick. That's
Oh my God.
well, you'll split it into 2, right?
Probably not.
Okay, well then let's go. I'll take day 1 first.
We got
or
Brock.
day 2. Yeah, I'll take Brock because to be honest, I've been Brock's ProMover Accounting, CFO and tax work. Very educated man who knows his stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I think Matt and Mark can attest to this, but knowing your numbers is paramount. Would you guys agree?
Oh, 100%. What you can see that from that 1,000-foot view of your numbers is so important. And the way Brock was able to break it down, even my P&L, the way he was showing a company that had kind of a bad P&L, mine kind of looks like that. So I was like, I need to get my stuff dialed in when I get back. The way he has it categorized, it was just simple and clean. It really seems like they can take their clients under their wing and do that. And I've heard a lot of great things from his clients like Karsten and things like that. The attention to detail that he gives them. And shout out to him for taking out his clients to a nice steak dinner last night. So Brock, good on you, man. So
Yeah, and what's funny about Brock's presentation, because me and Matt have sat together for the entire 2 days, and I really love my friend Maddie. And we actually dove into some of my numbers while we were sitting there. So yeah, it was neat. But let's get into some of the nuggets of Brock's presentation. We talked about GPM, gross profit margin, 50 to 55%. We talked about net operating income. 10% is a great target number. If you're above it, great. If you're below it, needs work. Steps to increase net operating income, increase your prices is kind of that low-hanging fruit. Reduce your direct costs. You should be trying to do that, annually, if not quarterly, if you're really on it. And then reduce your overhead costs. That's, a little bit more difficult. He said, I think you do it once, great, a little easier. And then each subsequent time, it's a little bit more difficult. He talked about never spend more than 35% on overhead costs. What I got the most, and I actually, if you could see my notes here, I highlighted every one of these, but numbers are numbers, right? You look at a P&L and it's just a bunch of numbers, but when you start putting percentages of total sales to those numbers, the percentage of cost to that total number of sales, you start getting clarity on this, right? So like sales payroll percentage should be this is your sales team, greater than 7%. Truck fuel, 5% or less. If you're leasing and renting trucks, less than or equal to 2%. Damage claims, 1% or less. I could keep going on here, but I really enjoyed Brock's presentation. He talked about cash planning, right? Cash flow. I think we've all felt it in the winter. When times are good in the summer, like, let's go. Like, you feel like, you can't be stopped. But then all of a sudden October hits, November, December, January, you start to feel that, restriction of cash flow, and things might not be going so great. And if you're not in control of your numbers, then, you're really going to start feeling that pain. He broke down budgeting versus actual and how to really budget your year out, next year versus previous year's data. And if you don't have your numbers dialed in, you can't do any of this stuff. So, his presentation was really all about that.
for sure. And I think you had just talked about it, but the way he had put it in a benchmark, saying we had taken 100 moving companies and we had found out kind of that margin of error for each of these categories that you guys should be spending for. Right. And so they had caught someone kind of like stealing fuel because they said, why was your fuel expense so high? Right. And they were able to dig into that. And so, I have an accountant. She's great, but she's not mover specific. Right. She doesn't know the moving business. She just knows mine. So it really helps when you can have someone who has set a benchmark against 100 other movers from what he sees in the adaptability. Hey, you might be like 2 percentage points off here. You're in the green there. And so now you can focus on these red things. And the fact that they do a meeting every month with their clients to help dial them in is just awesome. And I really did like that as well.
Was that your first time meeting Brock, Matt?
No, I had met Brock quite a few times before. I just saw him in New Jersey 2 weeks ago. He also did a very similar presentation to this, and just a lot of great stuff. So,
What a guy that gives value, Mark. What do you got?
I'd never met him before.
Okay.
this is your first time with Brock.
Oh, guys. Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about Tighten Up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, well, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up training yet, get a demo done, get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up training today.
Hey, it's Mark with Movified, and I'm here to talk about Canada Home Listings. They are the only direct mailer service built specifically for household good movers in Canada. That's right, my hometown. They help moving companies reach homeowners the moment they list their home with proven mail campaigns that drive results. And for the Movified listeners, they're offering exclusive promotions you won't find anywhere else. So go check them out today. Go online, go do your thing, and go find them. Canada Home Listings right now. Go. And then keep watching the show. For someone that's an avid listener, if you want to know more information about Brock, scroll back.
He had a fantastic episode.
Yeah, Brock came on the show, and I digged hard into numbers and just trying to understand what we all try and understand, which is typically our P&L statements, our balance sheets, right? And trying to make sure, when it's one thing, I was talking actually with Tracy Beck, who's, has a fantastic book out, and
60-minute CFO. Shout out.
60-minute CFO. One of the big things is to be vain in your numbers, right? Is to constantly, go, wow, I want to be that $20 million company, especially when you go to these events, right? When you go to these events and you start talking to some of the guys, you're like, man, I'm only doing like 800,000. I'm only doing $1 million. Like, man, wouldn't it be great if I can't wait to, get up to 10 or 12 trucks and do like $5 to $10 million in business. And the reality is it doesn't really give two shits what your sales numbers are. I remember when I purchased Salmons, all I said to myself was, I want to take this company to a $10 million company. Yeah. It was fucking stupid, right? Because as I was getting there and just shy of it, I remember having a meeting with the previous owner who was an accountant by trade, and he was the owner for like over 40 years. And he said to me, he goes, well, how's that working out for you? And I said, well, I kind of BS. And I was like, oh, it's going great. Like, we're doing great. He goes, oh yeah, well, what's your profit? He goes, because the profit margins at Salmons are so tight that, we were at a $10 million mark at 1.2. And I realized there's no point. I might as well bring it right down to 5 million, because that percentage of profit revenue is going to be much greater. And if you're doing it properly. So we have to reflect on it going, what is our profit at the end of the day? Because you could be a $10 million company with a net profit of 100,000, or you could be a $3 million company with a net profit of 100,000. Well, guess what? When you work out that percentage difference, right? That $3 million company has a 30% profit margin. That $10 million company has a 3% profit margin. Right? Who do you want to be, the 30% and not have so much headache? Or do you want to be the huge company with huge overhead and sleepless nights, and you've made 3% profit margin? So it's definitely a reflection of it. Brock does it so well. I love Brock. He's always fantastic. He is one of the friendliest and nicest accountants that he's not. You don't sit there having a chance to talk to him, and he goes, "Here's an invoice," right? Like he will guide you and give you tons of knowledgeable nuggets to take away. So his presentation was killer. It was 2 hours of intense discussion, and and you can see it by Nicale's notes.
Yeah.
It's all yellow highlights. So
pages of notes here.
A lot of pages there. Mark, why don't we touch on your co-host, Stephen Reed?
Yep.
Oh, I skipped his.
Okay. No problem. Sorry, Stephen. You got
no, but before even more jump over to Stephen, I do want to give a shout out on day one to Eric Works from USA Home Listings, and Works Moving and Storage. He took the time to really dive deep into marketing and how we market, and his journey of thinking like we all do, especially those that have moving companies for a long time, going, man, this logo is sick. I don't want to change anything. My trucks look fantastic. I got the phone number and the website up there. Like, what more do I need? And then going through a rebrand and going, holy shit, I should have done this a long time ago. And watching your increase in sales and your marketing spend almost go down because people see you now. You aren't that white truck with just, your moving company letters or a small logo on your truck. Like every other truck that's out there, you actually stand out, which is exactly what we want to do. So he did a fantastic presentation. I know that he ripped apart a bunch of moving companies.
I think I was on one of those slides.
for all that slide. Cal was looking at his logo a little closer, and I was.
I was like, next slide, please.
Slide, please. But he did great. So so shout out to Eric, great job. And if anybody is looking for those slides, I'm sure I can forward it to you. And Eric,
I think Tim was the only one not willing to share the slides.
but yes, my boy, my friend, my co-host, Stephen Reed on the show, he loves to shout out readyrules.com. And it's for a valid reason. And his slide was fantastic. And we'll make sure that that slide deck is also shareable on here as well too, so you can open it up and check it out. Because if you are thinking about a VA, if you already have some VAs, but you're not utilizing it in the right way, if you're not looking at how much it's saving you, I mean, I'll give you a prime example. Workers' comp. When at Salmons, there was a time where we were paying every quarter. I felt like it was about $100,000 out. So that's a $400,000 push out over to me, like as a business owner, like a fucking expense that I really don't feel like pumping out. And by tweaking and looking at how I can change this out and fix it where it makes more sense for the business, we now pay out like $14,000 every quarter. So that savings, I'm not sitting here doing the math. I can get Brock to do the math, but let's just say that savings was like $200,000 for me. So if you can do that with VAs and staff and look at what is it costing you to hire 3 full-time employees within your business, as opposed to 3 VAs working for you doing the same thing and having the onboard for $67,000 that you that can go to your top line or your bottom line, or your lines that you should just talk to Brock about because he's the financial guy. I mean, why wouldn't you? So he did a fantastic presentation. Shout out to my boy, Stephen Reed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I really liked, after Stephen, we did this intimate thing right after lunch, which was we all kind of had this huddle with 3 different individuals. We had Brian Slater, we had Winston, and we had, what was the? Corey, yeah. And Corey does private equity stuff. So she was talking specifically about that. We had Winston discussing hiring and kind of your staffing. And then we had Brian Slater just kind of touching on like 20 of his most important tips and tricks he could give you within the shortest amount of time. A lot of value there. I loved how intimate that was.
Tune for those episodes if they haven't really pumped out already, but yeah.
Have you had Winston on Movified yet?
On a 1-to-1?
Yeah.
It was one of your first episodes.
Yeah, it was.
We might need to get him back.
I know, we gotta get him back.
We might need to get him back.
It feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
Well, you do realize, guys, it started with us. This is the 2-year anniversary.
Well, it's just about over
2 years old now at this point,
right?
Yeah, this October.
That's awesome, Mark.
Congratulations, Mark.
Mark's
For Mark.
Yeah, Mark's done a fantastic job.
They're clapping on the back end. I hear it. Thank you, guys.
But let's dive into the after lunch Q&A that we had.
Let's not. Let's save those for the episodes.
Sorry, Nick. Episode.
It was like a page and a half. We could have got through.
No, I don't want to dive into those ones. I really want to save those because to me, for all those that are listening, and I apologize, Tim, we gave a lot of great nuggets for you should have been here. Like, you're lucky that
Oh,
we're
that was the
sitting
tip
here
of the
and
iceberg.
doing a debrief right now on some solid nuggets that they shared, because to be here in person is completely different than listening to us give you the secondhand info. But the three, I mean, to go into a small group and have a close quarters where you get to really listen hands-on and ask questions, you don't get that when you have 200-300 people sometimes on stage. And a lot of those questions that you really want to shout out there don't get answered either. So we had 3 fantastic speakers. Me and Matt pivoted and said, let's get this on tape. So let's film it so that we can share this with all our Movified listeners as well too. And we're going to be sharing that with everybody as well. And very excited to be able to do that. And so that's why I wanted to stop
That's
you.
right. You recorded it.
We recorded it. And so we wanted to make sure that we get to share that with everybody.
That's my fault, Movified listeners. I was jumping the gun.
We forgive you. Anyways,
They're giving me the evil looks.
For all those, if you want to know more information about Build to Move, or maybe even to try and be able to get your copy, we will. I suggest that you go reach out to Tim Krupp from Krupp's Moving and Storage. If you're part of the MCOU, he's been posting it. And, if you couldn't make this flight or anything else, there's maybe a way to get a copy so that you can sit there with your team or sit there for yourself for the weekend and study all of these speakers, which was pretty amazing. So shout out to Built to Move. This has been fantastic. The venue's been awesome. I mean, who would know that in Wooster, Ohio, they would have fantastic, really delicious restaurants, and a very cool vibe. Like, I love this vibe. Tim is has a great offer. I mean, I'll see if I can try and get a copy of his offer on there. I know it's exclusive for
We'll leave prices out, but what was the offer?
The price is off, but the offer was a 2 one-on-one visits, one that you get to pick, and one, I think, out to his hometown. And then it was a monthly
one was a private client and one was a group mastermind.
Yeah, there's a group mastermind and one is a private client. Yeah, thank you. That's simplified, because I was trying to think in my head of like
not the specifics, but Tim Krupp offers a ton of value. He did it free forever. Now it's rewarding. He talked about how that fills his cup. So yeah, reach out to Tim if you're looking for that one-on-one or maybe your own mastermind. I know me and these two fine fellas have our own masterminds. But Tim is a fantastic person. He offers a lot of value, and you'll definitely see the ROI on that.
100%. Everybody, stay Movified. Until next time. Thank you.
Love it. We like him.
We like
But
him.
we liked him.
Any chance I can get Matt to do his... Yeah, I love his impersonation. All right.